Kerrie lay in the A&E department, as indignant as a vegan at a cockfight. The nurse was giving him a lecture, and he was having none of it. "Headstands are for the young," she said. "Cartwheels are for those with respectable blood pressure and decent underwear." Kenny's face burnt red. "Long johns are the new G-string," he shouted. Then, with a dramatic tug, pulled away his sheet and bellowed, "I'm as young as my long johns," silencing the A&E. Kerrie glared at the young whippersnapper of a nurse, daring her to reply until he realised he was no longer wearing his long johns. He'd lost them in the Argyle when the elastic pinged like an egg timer. Kerrie was not aware at first until Rita and Elsa fought over him. Bursting into an impromptu cartwheel didn't help. Neither did jumping into a headstand. Not only did it put off the crowd of their drinks, but it resurrected his frigging sciatica. Kerrie was as movable as an Easter Island statue. Rita was in the cubicle next to Kerrie, separated by the thinnest of curtains. The nurse was taking care of her split lip and bloody nose, while she in her head was cursing that Elsa in her frigging elbow. Thanks to Elsa, she looked like a boxer. She could hear Kerrie behind the screen making a tit of himself, and was beginning to wonder what the hell she saw on him. I mean, one look at Long John's once the Long Johns had gone, there really wasn't much else to see. Elsa was behind another curtain, with a nurse adjusting her arm in a sling. The whole Argyle debacle had her wondering if she could toss the stripper thing and take up knitting. Everyone blamed her for the flashing of Kenny's meat and two veg, especially the postman, and as they lifted the immovable Kerrie into an ambulance, he told her so. Elsa was feeling low. She'd always hoped that Kerrie would remember the almost snog night. But as they carried him away, shouting, "Entertainment knows no age," she knew that was as possible as Kerrie wearing a G-string. All that anger, she said to the nurse. Fighting over Kerrie for what? He only ever wanted Rita. The nurse swished the curtains back. Kerrie caught Rita's eye as the postman appeared with a bunch of flowers and "I'm in charge" look. "Time to get you home," he ordered, without a blink at her puffy face. Rita, a shell of herself, didn't argue. Rather, she looked at her trim other half, pictured him in long johns and smiled to herself. As they headed off, Elsa went over to Kerrie and asked him if he was okay. "My kingdom for my long johns," he shouted. "Just ignore him," muttered the nurse. "It's the painkillers." Kerrie, under the glaze of cocodamol and deep heat, looked at Elsa, and the years melted away. He took her hand and sang, "Let's get it on." Elsa blinked. "I remember that night like it was yesterday," he said. "You smelt so good." She blinked again. "I'll always regret not taking you home," he said.